Hi creative friends, this is Soraya and thank you so much for being here. So I'm back on this spread and it has a lot of lessons to teach me. I've talked about this a few videos ago when I was doing my mixed media portraits, and it holds true for anything that you are painting, and even in life. So it's don't allow your intentions to be a cage, let it be a compass. And what I am figuring out, I have been looking at this spread before I turn the camera on, and there are parts of it that I am really loving, and there are parts of it that they're just not sitting well with me. Like, I don't like the blue and yellow over here, and I don't like this yellow. And that leads me to my second point. I have to allow the spread to dictate where it wants to go. And the third point is, when I falter and I'm unsure about what I want to do, what I need to do, what I should do, I lean into my visual language, which is why it is so incredibly important to become familiar with your visual language, to know what it is, to know what it isn't, to strengthen it, to revisit it, all the time, really. And when in doubt, for me, I lean into color. That's what I want to do. I want rich, vibrant colors that make my heart sing. So what I decided to do is I want to go for a very vibrant yellow over here. And remember, when I set the intention for this particular journal, I was going for a more neutralized, muted palette, which I love, by the way, which is perfect for this book. But for this particular spread, I want a vibrant yellow. And over here, I want to replicate something that's more like this. So I'm just going to bring it up closer and not this. See, even though the shape is the same, the color field is not. So I'm really loving the little collage, and I'm really not liking that at all. So I'm just going to do some tweaks. And the fourth point that I have to make is, what is the fourth point that I have to make? I don't know. I had a very important fourth point, and hopefully it'll come to me as I paint. So I'm just going to keep on going here, and unfortunately I do not have any more tea bags. I only have these small pieces here, which I am going to use. I don't throw away any of my tea bags. Oh, I remember what my fourth point is. So before I turned the camera on, I was looking, I was trying to figure out, okay, what should I do? And I decided that I wanted to cover it up with my tea bags, and then, just kind of build up more of a visual color field like so. And I realized that I don't have any more tea bags. So what I'm gonna do, and this is a good adage, is to take something that you think initially is a disadvantage. So in this case, I don't have enough tea bags. I would like, 2 or 3 full tea bags that I can use, but I don't have that. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to use that. I'm gonna figure out how to use that to my advantage. It's the same thing with, sometimes when you don't have a lot of art supplies, or you're limiting the art supplies that you're going to use, on the surface, it might seem that that would be incredibly restrictive, but actually it forces you to be more creative. Like when you're working with less stuff, you are forced to now think of things in new ways, in different ways, to connect the dots in, completely different ways than you would have if you have, say, every single thing that you need. So that was my fourth point, I think. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go for my, I have this yellow over here. It's a permanent yellow deep, and this is an Italian brand actually. So I think I'm going to use that. It's a gorgeous, beautiful yellow. Like, look at that. Oof. Okay, I'm loving that. So I'm gonna kind of go with this for now. I might change my mind later, but for right now, I'm really digging it. Like, it instantly makes me happy. Like in my soul, I'm so happy. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Now, I do not like this situation here. So, but we're gonna work on things, one step at a time here. And what I'm doing, you guys, is I'm just adding some of my chalk paint to it, And I'm just, you know, like giving it some dimension. And I might keep like a little bit of the gray, like neutralized yellow. I might. So I'm going to keep a tiny bit of it. And what I'm going to do over here is, oh, I do have a few more pieces of my tea bags. It's not a lot, you guys. Look, I do not throw away any of my tea bags. Like, this is like gold to me, honestly. I mean, I'm just so obsessed with them and I use it for everything that I don't throw anything away when it comes to my tea bags. So I am going to kind of build it up just like that. And maybe, let's see here, kind of lay it down like that. And I don't want to cover up this writing over here. And now this does have a little bit of the blue, but it's also got like a lot of the red. So I'm going to need to bring some of the whites out here. So what I'm going to do actually is I am going to use, I think I'm going to use like some of my cheap line composition notebook here. Because actually that's what this paper is. It's just like cheap line composition notebook, this little piece of paper there. So I'm really loving it. So I'm going to replicate it. And this is what I mean about how I am using this collage as a seed of inspiration. So I have 1,000,001 ways that I can replicate it. I can modify it. I can take one thing and, you know, use it in so many different ways. You know, you don't have to copy it exactly. So I'm just going to kind of build it up here. And I don't know if I should let it completely dry. Something tells me I probably should. Now this can be a little bit tricky here because like I don't know what I did to make this kind of a color. To me that's reading as like a little bit pink, a little bit orange, like I don't know, but I absolutely love it. So I'm just gonna try to kind of recreate it as best I can. And I think it's kind of watered down. So there are some clues here, like that looks like luminous opera. So that's giving me a little bit of a clue. And it doesn't have to be exact. I mean, I'm gonna spread some of that yellow and then I'm gonna take some of that luminous opera and just mix it in there. It's hard to say what that is. So you guys, I'm just going to talk about the studio log for a minute. And I know it deserves its own video, honestly, but this would be a good time for somebody way more, I don't know, like, not logical is not the right word that I'm looking for, but somebody way more like meticulous, that's a word. Somebody way more meticulous than me, but a studio log would be a great place to like, just say you made this collage and you really love you know, certain aspects of it, you can actually have your studio log and you can say number this collage, and then you could write in your studio log like exactly what you did to, you know, to make that color or that whatever it is. That is not something I would ever do because it would break my brain. I'm just not kind of inclined that way. But I have seen so many different ways of using a studio log where people will meticulously detail their work, like whether they're a potter or, you know, a visual artist or whatever it is. And they just document everything. It's quite impressive, actually. And Connie Solera, when I was in Oaxaca, she talked about the studio log where you have conversations with your art, and that is more my jam, honestly. So that's how I use my studio log. And but there's so many different ways, like there's no right or wrong. And I am gonna make another video about not another video because I haven't made one thus far, but I am gonna make a video about studio logs. But they are a very useful way to just document your stuff, or, you know, figure out your visual language. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do it, and there's so many different ways of doing it. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna get back to this here. And this is turning into a little bit of a mess here, so I'm gonna allow this to dry. But I'm really loving a lot of what is going on here, better than the blue. I did not like that whole blue and yellow situation at all. So I am gonna read something here while I just put this off to the side here, but it does relate to what I'm talking about, a few different things actually. So this book over here is called Finding Your Visual Voice. It's a great book. And I leave the name of the book and the author. It's two authors actually, and I'm gonna leave that in the description below in case anyone is interested. But okay, conveying complex messages through color. Color is the most complex of the elements. It has an infinite number of variations. It can be dark or light in value, intense or subdued in saturation, and warm or cool in temperature. Humans respond on emotional levels to color based on universal, personal, and cultural meaning. Color conveys myriad messages and moods. When we're sad, we're blue. We turn green with envy. Red arouses passion. Each of us also has personal associations with or preferences for colors. Artists choose colors for symbolic or psychological reasons, or simply because they are appealing. Known for his vibrant use of color, Van Gogh had this to say: "Instead of trying to reproduce exactly what I have before my eyes, I use color more arbitrarily, so as to express myself forcibly. One needs only to look at one of his paintings to know the truth of his words." And then the author goes on to say, "Once I copied one of Kandinsky's images to try to understand his approach to color. When I painted an arm purple, as he did in his painting, I giggled in delight. It felt as if he had given me permission to do something I never would have dared to do on my own. This experience helped me to understand more about my personal preferences. I learned that I don't care about accurately depicting color and shapes as much as I care about freely expressing my responses to my subjects. Color choices are highly personal. There are no right or wrong colors." And then she goes on to, you know, to say this and that and whatever. And this over here is an incredibly great example of why it's so important to copy other artists, because now you have created a muscle memory, and you say, "Oh, I've done it before, so now I can do it again." And I mentioned this in a few videos previous to this one, but this author expresses it way more articulately than I did, which is, yeah, you've already done it and you've given yourself that like internal permission to do it again, because it's like, oh, well, you know, Kandinsky did that, Van Gogh did that, oh, whatever, and I've already done this before when I was copying them. So you have this kind of memory of doing it. Anyways, you guys, if you have watched all the way to the end, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.